Hey, what's up guys? So back in 2007, Escort introduced their first GPS-based radar detector called the 9500i. And what was special about this detector is it introduced a new feature that Escort called True Lock, where when you come across a stationary false alert, like an automatic door opener from a shopping center or grocery store or something, you can tell the detector, hey, this is a false alert, lock it up, and don't alert me to it again. Very cool. It was the first time we had this feature. Then in 2008, Escort released an updated version of this detector, which they called the 9500iX. This was actually the first detector that I ever had when I got into radar detectors. And it brought about two different changes, two improvements. The first thing is those GPS lockouts, instead of being manual where you had to tell it what's a false alert, after you pass the same false alert a couple times, the detector can recognize that and automatically lock them out for you, so you've got a completely hands-free experience, which was a really nice update. It also introduced the ability to alert you to red light cameras and speed cameras through a GPS database built into the detector. That was 2008. Now, the detector was very popular for Escort. Escort sold tons of them, and the detector was actually discontinued a little while ago. However, it has actually been brought back under a new name called the S75G. And here it is. If you take a look at it compared to the 9500iX, you'll actually see it looks very, very similar. And there's a reason for that. It's actually almost the exact same thing. Almost nothing has been changed from one detector to the other. Pretty much it's the same thing, same features, same performance, same filtering and everything. The only differences between the detectors is that well, number one, the price has gone down. Instead of $450 for the 9500iX, the S75G is only $300. And it's pretty much designed for Escort to have an inexpensive detector with your GPS lockouts, right? It doesn't have a ton of bells and whistles. Like, Escort has higher end detectors like the Redline EX and the Max 360, which also have the auto lockouts and a bunch of other really cool features and better performance and all that kind of stuff. But they're also twice the price. Right? So to kind of give you auto lockouts at a lower price, that's really what the S75G is designed to give you. Now, in terms of improvements over the 9500iX, it's just a different name, a different case, and a lower price. I have actually found two different kind of improvements, software changes, but from one detector to the other. One is they've removed SWS, which was kind of a useless, pointless feature that kind of sounded like a cool idea back in the day, but never caught on, and so Escort's been removing that feature from all their detectors. The other thing that I've noticed is the startup sounds are a little bit less annoying now when you start at the S75G. I'll go ahead and show you both of them real quick. So as you can see with the S75G, you don't get that kind of annoying high-pitched beep at the very end, which is kind of nice to not have that every time you start your detector, you know? But otherwise, same features, same performance, same filtering, same everything. There haven't been any sort of updates to this detector that came out 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago at this point. So it's really nothing that exciting or revolutionary in any way. I mean, if you ask a radar detector enthusiast like myself, you'll never see any one of us getting excited about this detector because it's not an exciting detector. It doesn't have amazing performance. It doesn't have a lot of really cool features in any way. It's pretty much just designed to be a simple, basic detector at a lower price point, which can be appealing for a lot of people. This doesn't mean that it's a bad detector, which maybe could be debatable, but I mean, Escort sold tons of them and people were happy with them, and I'm sure the same will be the case here with the S75G. To give you an analogy, kind of a car analogy, think about the older Toyota Corolla. You know, if you ask a car enthusiast, you'll never hear a car enthusiast go, "Oh my gosh, I love the Toyota Corolla. That's such a cool car. I've had a poster of it up on my wall ever since I was a little kid. I dream about the car. I would love to have one. I watch tons of videos on it. I recommend it to everybody. I would love," like, you'll never hear that reaction by anybody driving a Toyota Corolla, right? But, you know, it was a simple car. It was economical. It was inexpensive. It was reliable. It was a basic car that did the job for people. It wasn't designed to be an exciting car or a fast car or anything like that. And the S75G, it's kind of the same thing. So it's not an exciting detector. It's not anything that flashy or fancy, but despite its lack of excitement, I'm sure Escort will sell tons of them. So let's talk a little bit about kind of the performance and what the detector is like, especially compared to some of the other options that you have. So starting off with performance. At this point, it's pretty below average. I mean, it was okay back in the day. If we compare and take a look at some test results from the 9500iX, because, well, those tests have already been done, and even Escort has confirmed the filtering is the same, the performance is the same, features are the same, there's no difference. And so we can actually, fortunately, take a look at the testing for the 9500iX. In any event, if you take a look, the range is quite a bit subpar relative to the competition these days, even relative to detectors that cost the same price or even less. So this is not your long-range performer. So if you do a lot of driving in the mountains, or there's hills or curves or trees, this is actually the reason that I sold my 9500iX years ago, is it's just not going to give you adequate range in more challenging terrains. And that was actually the reason that I sold mine. In the city, it's fine. You've got your lockouts, reasonable range and performance, but it's not a very fast detector. It will miss brief signals, and it does not have good long-range capabilities. But again, that's not what this detector is designed to do, right? Now, in terms of filtering, remember, this detector is based off the 9500iX, 9500i, which was 2007, 2008. Since then, a lot of new cars have come out with collision avoidance systems and radar cruise control and blind spot monitoring systems, and these detectors are not designed to filter those cars out. They don't have the updated filtering that a lot of Escort's newer and more expensive detectors have. And so if you've got a lot of those cars around, this is not going to be the best detector for you. You are going to have to deal with some of those false alerts. And I kind of wish Escort had taken the time to maybe update this detector. And, you know, if they were making some tweaks to the sounds and removing some features and changing the startup stuff or whatever, I wish they'd taken the time to improve the detector, but they haven't done that. And, well, okay, that's what the S75G is. So the filtering leaves a little bit to be desired too. So again, it's not a detector that's going to be blowing anybody away, but that's not really what it's designed to do either. You know, it's $300, auto lockouts, no fancy OLED display or Bluetooth or RDD immunity or any of those kind of higher end cool features. That's not what this guy is designed to do. Now, how it compares to the competition, I think the lower price point definitely makes it more attractive. It puts it into the realm of detectors like the DFR7, for example, which has actually a lot of the same features as the S75. You've got your GPS lockouts, all that kind of stuff, right? However, this guy has much better performance. It's got longer range. It's got the modern BSM filtering and whatnot. However, it is a little bit more manual. This guy, for your GPS lockouts, you have to manually double press the button and teach it what's a false alert. It can't do it automatically like the S75G does. The display brightness can't go brighter or dimmer depending on daytime or nighttime. You have a button right here. You can see mute or dim. You can change the display brightness here manually, whereas this guy has an ambient light sensor, and it can adjust that for you automatically. So there's little things like that, you know, but fundamentally, in terms of being a radar detector, the competition, the unit is just one example. There's others, of course, that we could talk about, but there's other detectors that perform better, that are better radar detectors. But if you really want the automatic GPS lockouts and, you know, the low speed muting and the red light camera alerts, and you want a little bit more hands-off automation, this is Escort's $300 option that gives you that functionality without all the crazy bells and whistles, and that's pretty much what this detector is designed to do. So again, nothing exciting or revolutionary or anything to write home about, but Escort has, I mean, again, I guess they could have reintroduced this guy. It already has a ton of good reviews on Amazon, and it's got like the name recognition and everything, but instead of reintroducing it, they just decided to discontinue it and introduce it under a new name, which is now called the S75G. So nothing really new to talk about with this guy. But for those of you guys who are interested, there's a quick look at you know, the important features, how the performance is, what the filtering's like, maybe how it compares to the competition. If you're looking for a detector in the $300 price point, I think there's maybe other better detectors out there. And on my website, I have like a whole radar detector buyer's guide where I go over the very best ones. This guy, I guess its niche is designed to give you auto lockouts for $300 with no phone required and decent, okay performance for driving around town. If you're driving on the highway a lot, maybe you'd want another detector. If you need something RDD immune, or you've got arrows, or if you need some of the other features, obviously there's other ones available. But what this guy is designed to do is give you reasonable performance in town and give you automatic lockouts and hit that $300 price point. And that's what this detector is all about. So if you want one and that sounds like what you're looking for, I'll put a link in the video description to where you can pick one up. Other than that, there you go. There's a take on the Escort's new S75G and what it's all about. So cool. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and till next time, happy driving, and I'll see you guys in the next video.